Do you have a fixed or a growth mindset? All right. Hey, welcome back. Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. Thanks for being here. Now, in the past, you've heard me talking a lot about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. I've talked about it in everything from my podcast episodes, from my High Achievers Mindset Secrets program, my Confident Athlete program. I'm always talking about it because it has such an impact on us. When we look at our mindsets really have an impact on our thinking, on our learning, and our behavior, which in turn have an impact on our success in our work, life, and leadership, and basically everything we do. And we talked about, if you listen to the Jeff Heggie Show, I had a great interview with Ryan Gottfredson. He has a book called Success Mindsets. I highly recommend it, but I'm going to tell you more about that in a bit. What I want to do right now is I want to share with you part of that episode from when Ryan and I were talking about the fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And listen to this, and I guarantee you can learn some things from it. So let's start with the one I've talked a lot about in my episodes and in my courses, the growth mindset and the fixed mindset.
Yeah. So a fixed mindset is more on the negative side of the continuum. The growth mindset is more on the positive side. And when somebody has a fixed mindset, they see themselves and others as being unable to change their talents, abilities, and intelligence. And, to them, it's, I am who I am, and there's nothing you can do about it. Who I am now is the same person I was 5 years ago, and who I'm going to be 5 years from now is the same person I am now. Somebody with the growth mindset, they've got a different mentality. They kind of think, who I am now is only a shadow of who I'm going to be in the future. And this implicit belief around our ability to change our talents, abilities, and intelligence plays a really significant role in terms of how we operate. Because if we don't believe that we can change our talents, abilities, and intelligence, we got this fixed mindset, we have a tendency to see the world in terms of haves and have-nots. Like, I either, if I fail, this means that I'm a have-not and I can't become a have. And if I don't succeed quickly at something new, this means I don't have what it takes to ever be successful in this area. Whereas somebody with the growth mindset, if they fail at something, this doesn't mean that they're a have-not. It just means that maybe they're a have-not now, but it doesn't preclude them from being a have in the future. And so what often happens is that those with the fixed mindset, their wiring in their mind is focused on avoiding failure, or the flip side of that, which is looking good. They always want to present themselves in a positive light. Those with the growth mindset, they don't mind failing. They don't mind looking dumb on occasion, because it's in those instances that they know that they're going to learn and grow the most. And so that's maybe some of the high-level differences between fixed and growth mindset. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So this is one of the disturbing parts to me. Where do we develop our fixed and growth mindsets?
Yeah, so at its root, it has to do with a connection to the importance of looking good. So, for example, and research has found this, is how we were complimented as children helped to shape our mindset. So, for example, if a child is complimented by labels like you were so smart, you were so funny, you were so pretty, that actually activates and strengthens the fixed mindset neural connections in our brain, that we always need to look or appear in this certain way. But children who are complimented not by labels, but by their effort, such as, oh, I loved how much effort you put in on this. You worked really hard. When children are complimented in that way, they're more inclined to develop a growth mindset. So that's one example of how our mindsets can be shaped, is in terms of how we're complimented. But maybe we had an instance where we tried something new and we completely flopped and we were really embarrassed. Everybody laughed at us. Well, that might be a little bit of a traumatic experience for us. And moving forward, we've learned that we want to protect ourselves from not being embarrassed again. And while that's justifiable, it is also at that same time limiting. Can you see that connection?
Yes, absolutely. And the reason I say this was disturbing to me is because so much of how we talk to our children, where you think you're praising them and saying, oh, good job, you're so smart. I had no idea I was instilling a fixed mindset in them by the praise I was giving them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's important. And that's, even I've talked a lot about it with my athletes. I started coaching my daughter in basketball when she was quite young, and I had the opportunity to coach her all the way through her senior year. And I've told her the same thing. If I knew back then when we started, what I know now, it would have been different for both of us. I would have been a better coach. You would have been a better athlete, because there were things that I was doing that I was instilling a fixed mindset in you because I didn't know any better. And so I think that's why it's so powerful to educate ourselves on these and to understand the difference between them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me give you an example of how I've seen this play out with athletes. So I grew up playing basketball, was kind of my favorite sport that I played. And when you play basketball, you've got your dominant hand that you typically shoot with. So I'm right-handed. But it's essential in your development of playing basketball that you learn how to shoot with your left hand as well, at least for layups, right? Is you got to be able to do a right-handed layup and a left-handed layup. And it allows you to be more versatile when you have that ability to do that. Well, what I see is there kind of comes a stage in the development where athletes using your left hand or your non-dominant hand is really awkward. I mean, it feels awkward, it looks awkward, and you're much less likely to make a basket when you do that. And so some children in a game setting, they're reluctant to use their non-dominant hand because they're fearful of missing a shot or of looking awkward or of looking bad. And if a player has that type of a fixed mindset mentality, that inhibits their growth and development. The children who grow and develop the most in athletics are those who are willing, even when the game is on the line, to try something new or to try something different. Because even if they look awkward, they know that that's the only way that they're going to get to a point where they're comfortable using their non-dominant hand in a game. So it's interesting to see how that dynamic even pops up with kids at a fairly young age, and not only adults as well.
Well, you know what, that's funny. That brought up a memory to me from, it had to have been 30 years ago. I missed a wide open left-handed layup. And I still remember the guy on the top row who yelled at me. He's passed away now. And I still remember this guy yelling at me for missing this layup. And I'm sure I made sure I was cutting over and doing right-hand layups the rest of the season.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. So what are the things we need to do to focus on developing a growth mindset? Because, if we've got a fixed mindset, it's harder for us to say, I can change. I can move to a growth mindset. So how do we make that shift?
Yeah, and it's I think that there's a variety of different things that we can do. So I think one of the first places we need to start is learning more about these mindsets. So because the more that we know, the more we can become aware of it ourselves, and the more conscious we can become of ourselves in a moment. So there's times I think I'm dominantly more of a growth mindset person. I didn't used to always be that way. But even now I'm more conscious of times when I may kind of may have more of a fixed mindset. So I think knowledge is power. So learning more about them is really helpful. I think setting up little tests to try things out, right? So if it's trying to take on new things and go from being not very good at them to putting forth time and effort to being good at them, or even just recalling instances in which you did that. When was a time where you did something where you didn't succeed early on, but later became an expert in that, right? What we're doing is when we think about those things or journal about those types of things, is we activate our growth mindset neural connections. I mean, we've all got in our mind a growth mindset neural connection and a fixed mindset neural connection. The one that we use most dominantly to process information is the one that is stronger than the other. Because when one is stronger than the other, it fires more readily and more rapidly. And so if we want to develop more of a growth mindset, effectively, we've got to hit the gym for our mindsets. We've got to strengthen our growth mindset neural connections. You can't go to the gym once and expect to be strong. How we become strong is we go to the gym. You know, we don't need to spend 10 hours at the gym every day, but if we spend a half an hour at the gym every day, over the course of 2-3 months, we're going to start to look very different than what we had before. And the same thing goes with our mindset. So it's just engaging in small, repeated interventions that are activating these growth mindset neural connections.
Okay. And, you know, becoming more educated on them. Number one, success mindsets. I'm going to have the link in my show notes. Just click on that and make sure you order it. It's an incredible book. You know, one of the things in the book that I thought was a great quote, you said, cultivating a growth mindset could be the single most important thing you ever do to help you achieve success. That's how important this is. So,
yeah, and the reason why is because those with a fixed mindset have a really hard time approaching challenges and trying things that they are unsure that they will be successful at. And the only way that we are going to get from where we are now to a higher level of success is by trying new things and doing things differently, getting outside of our comfort zone. And having a growth mindset is necessary for us to cognitively and emotionally get there.
all right. Thanks, Ryan. That's awesome. I love talking about this because there's so much we can learn from it and how we apply it to our lives as parents, as leaders, as business people, as athletes, whatever we're trying to do, we can apply these fixed and growth mindset strategies into our lives. Now, there's a few things I want to share with you. One is his book, Success Mindsets. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. And he's got a mindset assessment that with your fixed and growth mindset tells you where you're at on that continuum, but also with the other mindsets. It goes through all 4 of the mindset sets, and you're going to be able to figure out where you're at. And I highly recommend you do it. Just give it a try so you can recognize where you're at. And it actually gives a great report with it as well. If you go to jeffheggie.com/mindset assessment, you're going to be able to get access to his book. You're going to be able to get access to the mindset assessment. And you're also going to, if you'd like, full episode of the podcast with Ryan is there. So go to jeffheggie.com/mindset assessment, and you're going to be able to go through all that. But thank you. Hopefully these are things that you can look at, recognize within yourself some of the things that you can do to improve and get better. Because as I said earlier, when we look at our mindsets really dictate how we think, how we learn, how we behave, which in turn impacts our success in our work, life, and leadership. And whether you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a teacher, an athlete, whatever you're doing, a parent definitely with this, it can really change your life. So take a look at that. Please share this with someone. It really helps me out, but I also want to get this message of Ryan's out to help other people out. Thank you for being with me. I'll be back tomorrow.